best advice in life is free. I learned how to fix blinds using the web, and I know that you do as well. You've learned things on the web as well from complete strangers. NASA is learning things from complete strangers. They are actually sharing the biggest problems they're facing and inviting complete strangers to solve them, and the results are impressive. So if you've ever wanted to work with NASA, here's your chance. Literally everyone in the world is being invited to solve their problems for them. And the way I'd put it is this. I know that a lot of you have really compelling ideas. There are a lot of business advisors in the room, people that sell their ideas, their knowledge. And what I'd say is this. The opportunity for all of us is to share that wisdom that you have, that you think is the most valuable, the wisdom that you can make the most amount of money on. Whatever that wisdom is, I'd like to encourage you, invite you to share that wisdom on YouTube or on the web for free. Now, I know it might seem counterintuitive, but let me put it this way. Cory Doctorow, the author, says that the reason that he publishes all of his books online for free is because the biggest challenge he faces isn't piracy, it's obscurity. It's not people not knowing, not stealing his books, it's people not knowing how good his books are. Dr. Phil has put literally thousands of hours of his wisdom on television, and we haven't paid anything for it. But if you were choosing to send a kid with a behaviour problem to a psychologist, you had 3 options and one of them was Dr. Phil, would you pay a premium to see him? I mean, you could go and watch hours of Dr. Phil videos and become, like a pop psychologist and look after the kid yourself. But you're not going to, right? And that's the opportunity, sharing our wisdom, abundance. There's huge opportunities there. So if you are an entrepreneur and you are looking to share your wisdom, here's an acronym I'd like you to consider. It's called CROWS. Community, find a community that you can share your ideas with. Resource, be a resource to that community. It might be that you answer questions on a forum. It might be that you answer questions via Twitter or Facebook. It may be that you just go online and share your ideas in a way that it doesn't necessarily happen on a social platform. Write stuff. Share, get your ideas down on paper and speak, even if it's straight into a camera, in a laptop, in a room where you're all by yourself. I got accounting advice, I know there's a lot of accountants in here, I got accounting advice for my tax return from someone who literally had the crappiest camera I don't know what kind of webcam she was using. She hadn't done her hair, but I'll tell you what, her wisdom about accounting was just incredible. And I went back and checked with my own accountant, but I was able to have a better conversation with my accountant because this woman had uploaded this video, her wisdom in this video. And I thought to myself, I think she's actually better than my current accountant. And she's in a different city, in a different state, but it doesn't matter because do you really need your professional services people to be around the corner? You want people that can explain stuff to you, not necessarily people that can, like, I don't know, see that you haven't ironed your shirt very well. So signals in the noise. The power of small, the barriers are collapsing, and the wisdom is in the group. You've started to see these themes emerge, but I've got 3 quick case studies that I think really make this point. So the power of small. These guys call themselves the dream team. Check out their photograph. Whose dreams are these guys in? I doubt they're in any. Anyway, but leaving aesthetics aside, and don't get me wrong, they seem like cool enough guys. These guys have done something really phenomenal on the web. They've designed. Well, they started with prototypes like this. This is broken mobile phones that they re-engineered to do rapid prototyping for their device. This is the final product though. Have you seen this already, the Pebble? This is amazing. It's an e-paper watch. E-paper means that you can have it in direct sunlight, unlike your smartphone where it's not bright enough to see outside. It's a watch that talks to your smartphone though, so if your phone rings and it's a different part of the house or the office, the caller ID shows up on your wrist. Not bad, huh? And it's about $100. So it's not a particularly expensive watch. Really cool device. But the thing is, these guys they could have taken their design to Amiga or one of the big watch companies, but they decided to take it straight to their customers. People that they'd never met. They had not made one watch when this went online. They made a quick video that explained the benefits of the watch. They showed how you could program your own apps for your watch. And then they went to Kickstarter and advertised that basically this will only happen if we sell enough to make it worthwhile. So I bought one. I'm really excited. It comes in about September or October. And here's the amount of watches they sold. So they needed to sell about, I think it was about $20,000 worth of watches. I don't know if you can see that, but when the screenshot was taken, it was $7.3 million worth of watches sold. Not bad, huh? When it closed, I think it was, does anyone know the figure, the final figure? About $11 million. Isn't that phenomenal? And not a single watch had been not a single watch had been made yet. So maybe it's time to start selling products before they even exist. So the next step for you, if you're looking for the power of small, I love that. Like literally, they started with a simple website, and that's how they organized all their financing, the power of small. The opportunity for you, it might be Fiverr.com, which is a website, if you haven't checked it out, it's a resource where people will offer to do all sorts of amazing things for your business, whether it be tweak your website, do some graphic design, help you with your search engine optimization, for $5. Literally $5. Now, why would they do that? Because they believe, rightly or wrongly, that if you get to know just how wise they are, just how good they are, that $5 will turn into a proper contract in time. But basically, they're just committing to delivering such enormous value that you build a relationship and you use them again beyond the $5 sell. So I'd like you to consider making a $5 investment in Fiverr. So the barriers are collapsing. Imagine if Google's first ever employer quit his job at Google to come and work with you. Pretty cool, huh? This guy, Salman Khan, he's so inspiring. I love what he's achieved. He had a niece in New Orleans. He was in Boston. He was brilliant with maths. She was in high school and not doing very well with mathematics. He offered to coach her online. He started recording videos of lessons so that she could learn at her own pace. And he published them on YouTube and made them publicly available. So abundance, again, he decided not to just share it with the niece, he decided to share it with everyone. The feedback was phenomenal. People love Salman Khan explaining things. Here's a quick sample.
National Assembly, they create the Committee of Public Safety, which sounds like a very nice committee. Notice, this is an aldehyde, and it's an alcohol. Start differentiating into effector and memory cells. A galaxy. Hey, there's another galaxy. Oh look, there's another galaxy. And for dollars is their $30 million plus the $20 million from the American manufacturer. If this does not blow your mind, then you have no emotion.
And you can watch that whole video at TED.com. Salman Khan is inspiring because what he's done is he's started recording so many videos, and it's not just on mathematics, as you saw, he's branching into history. He's actually quit his job as a hedge fund analyst so he can coach people for free online. This is where he started what is now called the Khan Academy. This is his office, his home office. People in this room, some of you will have a walk-in wardrobe bigger than the Khan Academy's original headquarters. A few months back, the first person ever employed by Google quit his job at Google to help Salman Khan realize his vision for free education around the world. And to date, more than 100 million lessons have been taught by the Khan Academy for free. If you know anyone who's interested in learning online, they've turned learning into a game. And I'll tell you, I've started playing mathematics, and I would have been so much better at maths in high school if I'd had a game to help me along. It's really fun. So Khan Academy. So this is about the barriers collapsing. What does the barriers collapsing mean? It means someone with no formal education as an educator, he doesn't have a dip ed or anything, is redefining that industry. What industries are you completely not qualified to re-engineer? What industries do you have to share your wisdom with? But perhaps you imagine there's some kind of mental or cultural barrier that means that you're not the right person or that people wouldn't listen to you. Amazingly, those of us who have things to share have platforms on which to share them. The other day, I went on Facebook, which is a network that I'm fairly open with. And I basically said, our team's growing, we've got more demand than we have supply in terms of team members. I need people with emotional intelligence who want to come and work in a team of futurists. So I put that up, and 3 people shared it with their networks. 3 people shared it with their networks, and I had, in 24 hours, 30 applicants to come and work with me. Some of them were people that I'd worked with in other agencies before I set up my own business. Some of them were complete strangers. The caliber of the people that had applied were so much stronger than back when I worked at Razorfish, the world's largest digital advertising agency, and we were advertising on traditional channels like website advertising platforms. The wisdom is in the group. The barriers are collapsing. Literally, something that's normally for, like taking photos of what you made for dinner can actually be used for recruiting really talented people. So the wisdom is in the group. I love this story. This is a story about people in New Zealand collaborating with people around the world to make healthcare outcomes better for people in remote parts of the world, like remote Pacific Islands or parts of Africa where technology isn't readily available and mechanics can't necessarily fix things or technicians can't necessarily fix things. This is a humidity crib called the Neo Nurture. A typical humidity crib costs $50,000. This one costs $7,000. It was built through a collaboration of people working together to achieve a better health outcome. Check out this. This is under the hood. The lamps, the headlamps in there, so those are car headlights. In fact, every device that's used in the Neo Nurture humidity crib is a car part. So the opportunity here, this is a very number 8 wire thing. I can imagine you're all thinking, oh yes, number 8 wire, it's very New Zealand. But I guess the opportunity here is that means that any bush mechanic can come along if anything breaks in the humidity crib and fix it, even though there's not the expensive chips and microchips that are typically found in a humidity crib. And so basically what we're seeing is accessibility to technology increasing, and all because the wisdom is in the group. So what is the next step for us in terms of the wisdom in the group? Well, it's the workshop. It's what we're about to do. The future isn't some kind of imaginary place that's created by other people. The future is something that's made by us. It's made by the decisions, the choices that we all make. If we don't ask, the answer's always no. It's about courage. It's about having a sense of conviction, a purpose, a big yes, a why. The future is about starting small, harnessing the power of small, recognizing that even though we might not necessarily have the qualification, the barriers are collapsing. And the wisdom is in the group. This footage taken of Manhattan was shot by an amateur photographer who decided that he wanted a holiday in New York, but he couldn't afford to spend a month in Manhattan. And so he wrote to 30 prestige hotels and told them that he was going to be making time-lapse photography of Manhattan from expensive hotel rooms. And if they gave him a night's free accommodation, he would put their hotel name on his website. This footage has been seen by millions of people around the world. The photographer got himself 30 days in New York's most expensive hotels for nothing. The guys at the Nike running shop down the road got a free plug for a 10-cent piece of printing. The world's getting really awesome. I'm really excited about the opportunities and the possibilities. $1 million ideas don't cost $1 million anymore. The world that we've been handed, the opportunities that we have available to us are infinite. And so as we have a conversation about having an eye on the future and a seat at the table, I hope you see the possibilities for you and your organizations. So what do you say? Are you open to a team conversation? Table captains, are you ready to host? Are you with me? Let's get cracking. Sleeves up. Turn to the person next to you and say, I'm ready. Turn to the person on the other side and say, I'm ready. Great. Check out this. I found this on YouTube. I think it's just wonderful. It's a treadmill that you can use outside on the road. So now, wait for it, you can walk outside. In a minute, you're going to see footage where there are 2 people using it. It looks absolutely fraught. I mean, imagine the paramedics coming to sort this one out. What the hell are these guys doing? This is what happens when you innovate alone. I want you asking those questions. What's going on out there and what are the possibilities in a group environment, in a supportive environment with people that are from other industries? You see, it's not just about the biggest silo problems that we face. Dominic Thurman talks about silos and he says the biggest silo problems that we face is not the silos within organizations, it's the silos between industries. How many of us attend conferences each year that are just with people from our industry? And we all talk about what the opportunities for the industry are. But what about the opportunities from people who aren't encumbered by the assumptions and the existing entrenched knowledge that comes from your industry? Well, today is it. Today you are surrounded by people that have been deliberately, randomly selected to make sure that they are not all from your game. Environmental scanning is a very simple futurist tool. It's the kind of tool that forces you to think about how the world's changing and what those possibilities are. What I'd like you to do is write down these words: social, tech, economic, political, environmental, political, organisational. We're going to have a quick exercise where I invite you to come up with a trend in each of those categories as a table. So table captains, you can facilitate the conversation. We'll give you about 2 minutes, which is 20 seconds per trend area. If you come up with more than, I'm sure you can, it's like trivia night, right? There's no massive prizes, although I understand there are some cool sounding mobile devices. How do we win those, Andy? What do we need to do? Put a card in a fishbowl, is that right? Yeah. Oh my goodness. Put 2 cards in the fishbowl, they'll never know. Andy will know. So basically, what I'd like you to do is come up with a social trend. I'll give you an example. So what's a social trend? You know what I've noticed? People's text message at the dinner table. Have you noticed that? Socially, it's become acceptable to use devices at the dinner table. You see hot dates that they kind of look lukewarm, where the 2 people are sitting there and they're both texting. What better way to say I'm really into you than being totally into your phone? Technology trends. What are we seeing in terms of technology? I think we're starting to see it become ubiquitous. In fact, some people are talking about an Internet of Things. That is that the Internet isn't just on devices anymore. We're starting to see devices measure, for example, traffic. I don't know if you use Google Maps and see it tells you how bad the traffic is on different streets. And that's because our mobile phones are uploading information to Google about where we are and what pace we're moving at. And Google infers what the traffic is like. Isn't that amazing? So there's a tech trend. Sometimes people call that an Internet of Things. Economically, well, we're starting to see the big conversation about the economy is still probably the GFC, wouldn't you say? There's a trend, but I think there's probably more exciting trends about money and economics. Environmentally, I'm going to be lazy and say climate change. Politically, politics is about power. So I'm not just talking about what's going on in Wellington. I'm talking about what's going on in terms of how power is shifting. Who has the power? Who wants the power? Who's pursuing it? I think Google has an enormous amount of power. Because when we do ask questions about our health, Google decides who gets to talk to us about those symptoms. So there's an example of a trend around power. And organisationally, how are we changing? How are we getting work done? How are organisations changing? So are we clear as mud or clear as water about this idea of trends? I reckon I can give you a little more time than 2 minutes if you like. I'll judge the conversation in the room. So when you have these 6 trends, if you sit quietly and sit up straight, we'll be able to celebrate you in front of everyone, make a big deal of you. So get cracking, we'll get some music on, and I'll talk to you in about 2 minutes.